there's two ways that all contraband, from cigarettes to drugs to phones to everything, get in. One is through officers.
Yeah.
You have your officer, you tell him I want this, agree on a price, bring it in. Secondly, our prisoners, like in all of these situations, prisoners were not going out to work when you're in remand, and in committee as well. You're there for a long term, so you're not going out to work.
Yeah.
But when prisoners go to court, they wanasunda, they put it in the rectum, they bring it back, and then they sell it to other prisoners, or they do business with it.
So that's how drugs, phones, and all contrabands get into.
I just like to give you an example. 2 phones.
Yeah.
This with a charger and 10,000 shillings is what I used to pay someone to insert in the rectum for me, 1,000 shillings a day in committee.
2 phones, a charger.
2 phones, a charger, and about 10,000 shillings for emergencies.
It's that in the rectum. How is it done?
So you wrap it up in cellophane. There's no condoms, obviously. Wrap it up in cellophane, and then unacheza kama wewe unatafuta Vaseline.
Unaiskuba ile.
Like myself, okay?
Yeah.
I cannot risk a smartphone. I cannot risk a Cthulhu. The most I've ever done.
Bro,
Good afternoon.
it's afternoon when we are shooting this video. For our viewers, today we have an amazing guest. Not the usual guest we are used to. And it's going to be an amazing show. So, bro, my name is Kelvin Okumu.
Okay, I'm
From
Rasesha. Everyone calls me Rashi. That's Rashid without the D.
Without the D.
Without the D. There's an Indian. Rashid is Muslim.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Indian born in Kenya, but did majority of my education, or my higher education, in the UK.
Yeah.
Came back to Kenya in 2002-03, and was in prison.
You're in prison. Okay, as an Indian in prison, what was your first experience like an Indian in prison and the people around you are blacks? How was the first feeling?
I did not get any negative experience from Kenyan prisoners or the black prisoners.
Yeah.
Remember, in the 13 and whatever years I spent in prison, I only came across 10 other Indians, and none of them were on death row like I was. They were all there for short sentences.
So you were sentenced for
I was sentenced to death.
death. How did things change around?
My charge was murder.
Yeah.
Don't want to go into that, but in 2008 I was charged with murder. I was convicted in 2009, taken to committee, Nevasha, committee medium. Back to your question, Kenyans were very, very accommodating. They're the ones who taught me how to speak in Kiswahili. And best was, I was a typical Indian before going to prison.
Yeah.
Kuja wewe hapa, or stuff like that, broken Kiswahili. But now, tafadhali kuja.
So that's what you're taught in India, in prison.
In prison, yes. And 2 things I learned is that don't take anyone for bad. Just take them as they are.
Yeah.
Everyone has a good quality.
So, bro, you were in remand in industrial area, right?
Mm.
So your first day in remand.
My first experience in remand is a slap, the first memory, because the chief inspector in charge of documentation did not speak any English, and my Kiswahili was pathetic at the time. Because nilikataa kukaba, nilikataa kumpea pesa, Nipiga coffee. Well, the following morning, he called me back to ask for forgiveness
Yeah.
because he knew that I was going to stand up in court and charge him. I didn't do any of that, but officers are the ones that spoil the name of prisons in Kenya.
The officers.
The officers. As all that they're taught is violence. I mean, you give a KCSE failure the position of being a prison officer. Doesn't make sense to me. Look at other countries. They have to have degrees. They have to have at least passed KCSE or Form 4.
Yeah.
But no, in Kenya, they take the worst of the worst. You can't even hold a decent conversation with them in English.
So there need to be some reforms.
Reforms, yes. Okay, yeah. Things have improved. Okay, from 2008 to 2021 when I got out,
Yeah.
things have improved. But they have not improved enough in terms of violence,
Yeah.
in terms of food, in terms of health and safety, as in that includes illnesses, treating different categories of prisoners like HIV positive,
Yeah.
HIV negative.
Yes.
Like a crazy statistic is that 70% of prisoners in Kenya get HIV while in prison.
HIV while in prison. Actually, this brings us to the next, to my next question. In prison, how is the general hygiene?
You try and keep it as clean as possible, but if you've got such a huge population of people in such a tight space,
Yeah.
no matter how clean you keep it, it will always be dirty.
How about showering, washing
Bucket.
clothes?
Well, there's one thing that's crazy. I mean, you know, you have prison cells.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're locked up at 5, 6 in the evening, and you're given a bucket to urinate in. Now, some people don't even have money to buy another bucket to bathe in. So what do? They have to wash the bucket that they urinated in at night and have a shower with that. And there's so many buckets in the kitchen. But askari anakalia kama ni ya baba yake.
Hey bro, now you're in remand, industrial area. So from remand, how do you find yourself in committee now with the death
I was
sentence?
convicted in 2009, 6th of December 2009. I was sentenced to death. So there's only like 8 prisons in Kenya that can hold prisoners serving death. Committee is the only one in Nairobi area.
Committee. So after being convicted and sentenced to death, how was the feeling? Like ulichukuliaje? Wewe sasa
Acceptance was hard. It took a month or 2 before it settled in. But I always believe take whatever life throws at you with a smiling face.
yeah,
Move on.
move on.
Those are your circumstances for the moment.
Now you're in committee. The difference between the life in committee and life in industrial area.
Okay, in industrial area, in terms of food, in terms of living expenses, like I'm a smoker.
Yeah.
So in industrial area, you used to get roaster for 10 shillings.
Yeah.
In committee, it goes up to 50.
50 shillings.
A single stick.
I think
And there's been times that I even paid 1,000 shillings for a single stick. When there's issues of supply and demand. Food-wise, in industrial area, if you got 5,000 shillings, I'm talking about then, I don't know about now.
yeah.
You could pay an officer to go to Galitos, which was across the road. It still is. And they'd bring you a full chicken. You can't do that every day because, frankly, you're not going to pay Galitos 150,000 a month.
Yeah.
In industrial area, a mururu of meat at that time used to be 100 shillings. Come to committee, the same, it's 1,000. So everything, you just add a zero.
Yeah.
The mattress that I paid 2004 in industrial area. In committee it was 10,000.
10,000. So
Committee is expensive.
life in committee was a bit expensive.
Committee is like Dubai.
Yeah, like
And industrial area is like Korogosho.
Talking of that now, talking of smoking cigarette, meaning the drugs in jail or in prisons. How do drugs get into prisons?
There's two ways that all contraband, from cigarettes to drugs to phones to everything, get in. One is through officers.
Yeah.
You have your officer, you tell him I want this, agree on a price, bring it in. Secondly, our prisoners, like in all of these situations, prisoners were not going out to work when you're in remand, and in committee as well. They are there for a long term, so you're not going out to work.
Yeah.
But when prisoners go to court, they wanasunda, they put it in the rectum, they bring it back, and then they sell it to other prisoners, or they do business.
So that's how drugs, phones, and all contrabands get into.
I just like to give you an example. 2 phones,
Yeah.
this with a charger and 10,000 shillings is what I used to pay someone to insert in the rectum for me, 1,000 shillings a day in committee.
2 phones, a charger.
2 phones, a charger, and about 10,000 shillings for emergencies.
It's that in the rectum. How is it done?
So you wrap it up in cellophane. There's no condoms, obviously. Wrap it up in cellophane, and then unacheza kama wewe unatafuta Vaseline.
Unaiskuba ile.
Like myself, okay?
Yeah.
I cannot risk a smartphone, I cannot risk a Cthulhu. The most I've ever done is, you've seen those small finger-sized phones, the ones that are made by XTG.
Yes.
Okay, that with about 5,000 shillings, I can do on my own.
But smartphones.
I'm not gonna risk my body for it. If they want to take it, they take it. I'm not gonna harm myself.
But people used to do it successively.
I used to pay. There was this guy that used to cook for me. Okay, this is when I was at the peak of my conning career. I used to pay this guy 1,000 shillings a day to sunda my phones, to cook for me, to clean for me, to wash my clothes. Frankly, just say, not like a wife, but like a maid. Just everything. But this is someone that, remember, that was when I learned Kiswahili fairly well.
Yeah.
And he just came up to me and told me that I've got no income, I've got a kid, I don't smoke, I don't do anything. I just want an income. I can do this, I can do that.
Yeah.
We agreed.
You've talked about your conning game. Let's go to that now.
Okay, my conning game started in a very, very funny way. In the beginning, I refused to con.
Yeah.
Okay, in industrial area, there was no conning. But in committee, that's how majority of prisoners survive.
Yeah.
And you've got the whole day to do nothing. So this was sometime in 2010, towards the end. A guy comes up to me and he tells me that I want you to speak to someone that I have on the phone, and I'll pay you 10,000 shillings for it. And he's an Indian. I don't know whether he speaks the same languages as I do or not, but then again, I realized that in Kenya, there's not that many Indians, so I'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the person, and after 20 minutes, the guy comes to me and he gives me 10,000 shillings.
10,000 shillings.
So I just asked him, out of curiosity, how much did you steal from this guy? So he showed me 3 phones. At that time, the limit on M-Pesa was 35,000 per transaction. So 2 phones had received 35,000 and 1 had received 30. So he just conquered someone 100K because of me.
So you spoke to the Indian guy in your own language?
In Punjabi.
Oh, Punjabi.
The language of the Kalasingas.
So meaning you speak several languages?
I speak English, Gujarati, Kiswahili, Hindi, Punjabi, Gujarati, my mother tongue, a bit of French, a bit of Spanish, bit of Kikuyu, bit of Kijaluo, bit of Kamba.
Sasa wewe ni Mkenya kabisa.
I told you I was born here. It's just that my upbringing and the work I used to do did not require me to speak in Kiswahili. Everyone at work speaks English. At home we speak in Gujarati. When I'm out with friends, it's either Gujarati or English. So there's no time that I'm going to sit down and converse with someone in Kiswahili, unless necessary. And as I told you, it was broken.
Now we continue. The guy had conned someone 100,000.
Yeah, he conned someone 100,000, and I just decided on that day that if I want to survive, I want to live, I'm going to have to do this.
Yes.
So the person that he'd stolen from, it was selling him something. So with that 10,000, the first thing I did was buy a phone. At that time, phones were cheap because supply was high. I think it was 4,000 shillings. So I bought my first phone. I started doing the M-Pesa work. But as you say, haikukuwa inanibamba. So I came up with my own idea. So I said, how can I get someone's attention and curiosity without raising any suspicion? So I came up with my own kind of message. At first I was like, what is so innocent in this world that will cause someone to respond? So first thing I thought was, happy birthday. I started sending, I drafted my own message. It used to say, happy birthday, my dear. How does it feel to turn a year older? Any luck finding me a partner? Friend from the plane, and then the name that I used to use. So at that time, in 2010, Safaricom had a limit on the number of messages that you could send. I think it was 200. So I sent 200 messages. I got about 40 replies.
40 replies.
I didn't know at this time how I'm going to steal from them. I was just developing my story, my game. Started, and from those 40 people, started chatting with them. For the first 2 weeks, I was just chatting with them, just learning what I can about them. And one day I'm like, I want to steal from them, what do I do? So I asked them for airtime. They thought that I was working in Kakuma. So I told them that there's no airtime available over here. So some of them asked me, do you have M-Pesa? Some of them just sent. So out of those 40, 22 ended up sending me airtime. From 100 shillings, the max I remember was 15,000. So I forgot those other 18 because I thought that if someone's not going to send me airtime, are they going to pay me M-Pesa? I forgot about it. And I wanted to steal from them money. So I nishikana na mtu. I told him that I came up with a story that nimetoka Kakuma nakuja Nairobi kwa gari. So on the day natoka namtumia message asubuhi that I'm leaving, tutapatana usiku ama kesho or whatever. Fika kitu saa 4 saa 5 nampigia simu. I tell him that I filled up my car with gas in a place called Marriage. There was a time in 2006 I'd gone up to Kakuma, and I know that road pretty well. So I knew that there's this place called Marriage that is Kwabundus, Kabisa.
Yeah.
So I told him I had a place called Marriage. I filled up my car with gas, but I don't understand what this guy is telling me. So I gave the phone. I'd already told him the story that tell this guy that I filled up gas. I don't speak Kiswahili. He doesn't speak English, and I'm trying to pay by card, and they don't accept card. So he explains that to them. I'm given back the phone. The person relates it all back.
So you're conning with a lady?
No, what do you mean?
Like when you're making the conversation, there was a lady?
The Muteja?
Yeah.
No, it was both. At that time, I had not built up my game as yet.
Okay.
It was either man or woman, and still a man.
Okay, great.
So once he's explained the story, I tell them I only have my card. I've got like 800 shillings in cash on me, and my bill was like 7,000. So the guy takes the phone back, and all of them paid to his embassy. Well, I started off with 4, but eventually all 22 paid.
Wait.
Yeah, because you can't, you only have one. Okay, I have a phone, he has a phone.
Yeah.
You cannot keep on talking to different people. Someone else is calling you, it's call waiting, etc. You have to play with someone's mindset regarding that. Well, that went on. Then after that, I was taken to. Okay, so I stole from them. I built up, but at that time, again, smartphones were not something big in Kenya. They had the Nokia, the slide, the 5330. Even that was costing like 30,000 in prison. So I didn't get a smartphone at that time. And then around then, the British High Commission found out that I'm in prison through an interview I'd given in The Nation.
Yeah.
So they came and I was taken from there to detain. My appeal was dismissed. I'll come back to that. So later on, in 2013, towards the end, I decided to myself that why should I give half the money that I've stolen to someone else? It's not small. Even though I was blowing all of my money on drugs, I started developing on my Kiswahili. At the same time, I realized that my voice doesn't have a lot of bass. So I started teaching myself how to talk like a woman. And then, like, if I want to talk like a woman, I just know as a fact that I cannot smoke for an hour before I'm going to talk, which I've done. That's why my voice is not coming out properly.
Yeah.
But as long as I know I've not done that, I can literally talk like a woman. My Kiswahili has improved. So then I just carry on from there. So back to the story of those 4 people that we stole from the first day.
Yeah.
The guy told me, "Hii pesa mzuri." Yeah, 7 times, I think we gotten 28,800 between the two of us. That's 14,400 each. In 2000, even now it's a lot of money, but then it was a lot of money. I was like, "Kwani unawachilia?" I didn't have any other idea of stealing from them. So he's like, "Sasa uniwachie." He calls the mteja. She's gotten the number. He tells them that mama amesahau, or your friend amesahau kadi yake hapo. No, not amesahau kadi yake hapo. Ampiga anasema that hapo pale alikuwa mpanga gari yake, naona iko oil imemwagika hapo chini. Mpigie umweleze angalia kama gari yake iko sawa. So the guy will obviously call me because he or she is concerned. I'd stop my car and pretend to look. Tell her yes, there's well. I'd go back. Sasa story ni kutengeneza gari. Si ametoa 7,000 the first time.
Yeah.
Itisha 2025. Tena narudi, nimeenda. I've gone for like 2-3 hours because at that time marriage to my disaba was about 5 hours. So I've gone like 4 hours. The guy would call the person tumeshikana naye will call the mteja and tell him that your friend has forgotten the card over here. The card I wanted to pay with. I'm almost in my disaba or Kitale. I'd pull in money for accommodation, money for food. So in all of these smalls, like in those, I stayed with those 4 people for 2 days.
Yeah.
Before Kiswahili kaisha. Ama Kiswahili, it was not accepted. We'd stolen about 350,000.
During those 2 days? 350,000. Great. No more.
Si noma. Hii ni jela. 350,000 in committee is nothing.
50,000.
350,000 in committee. Ujue, sasa kwa mkono yangu, si mimi nimepata 175.
Yeah.
Remember, hapo utatoa kama giri 10 ya kuosha, because remember ni stolen money.
Yeah.
So utalipa mtu aenda kutolea kuwekea kwa line, etc. So I lose about 10-15,000 back. I think at the end of it all, I had about 150,000 remaining.
From 350?
No.
Or from
175.
175?
I had about 150,000 remaining. Remember, yeah? when you are stealing, sasa askari akiingia lazima umpatie chai ya hapo hapo because amekushika na simu kwa mkono. ABCD. So out of that 150 sasa nianza kujipanga, nibai simu nyingine. Sasa ile nilikuwa natumia 1202, nikanunua 1280, nikanunua chaja yangu, nikalipa chakula ya mwezi 2. So along those lines nikanunua mattress moja ingine mpya.
Alafu kuna hii watu husema kwa jela simu uchajiwa na polisi, ama mtu uchajaje simu kwa jela?
Unajichajia simu yako, uko na wiring yako. Watu wanasemanga boys ya ghetto hawana akili. Boys ya ghetto wako na akili sana. Kama wamechora tumetumia waya hapo juu, wametoa kwa bulb na ionekani
from the bulb,
haitolewi, it's never taken out na ina charge.
So they fix everything themselves. So kuchaji mnachaji pale simu kule ndani.
Huyu boy anakutengenezea unamlipa 5,000.
So you talked about being detained.
Okay, so when the British High Commission learned that I was in prison and they came to see me, they asked me unakaa wapi? So I told them I'm with the General Prison Population. Hata sikuwa najua mambo ya detain. So the lady that had come, aliuliza officer in charge, because when it is a consular visit, lazima the visit happens before, in front of the officer in charge or a senior officer. So akaulizwa kwa nini anakaa na General Prison Population, ni rangi tofauti, etc etc. Akasema saa tunamweka detain. Nikapelekwa detain. Detain hakuna mambo ya kuiba, but kukaa ni mzuri because utalalia kitanda yako ni bunk beds ama single bed. Unaweza lalia hata mattress 5 kama unataka. Wako na shamba yao whereby they grow onions, sukuma, spinach. No, this is that I don't know about now.
Yeah.
Wanajipikia.
Yes.
Kitu kama rice, kila mtu anapewa. So food wise is better. Na tena ni watu kama maximum 15 kwa block mzima that's been made for. Kama ingekuwa with General Prison Population ilikuwa na watu 150.
So what's the difference between detained and the...
Detained ni wale wako na uwezo, wako na pesa kama Chomli, Patni.
Yes.
Others that I can't mention but wako. Okay?
Yeah.
And then ex-officers kama wale watu wa Kingongo, wale walisema that waliua wafungwa wakitoroka, ex-police officers, ex-Howard Water.
Oh, wanakuwa detained.
It's just the block is called detained, but I remember I was reading a book.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa inaitwa detained because of the political prisoners under the British regime, and then under the Kenyatta, like the Raila political detainees and all of that. Si Raila alikao.
Yeah.
So that's why it was called detained. It's not that Howard wote ni wafungwa. Wamewa zebra.
Yeah.
But it's just the name of the block of detained.
So detained hamvai nguo za kawaida, bado mnavaa zile kunguru.
According to law you have to wear kunguru, but sasa huko because ni watu yao, ni askari jela, that's unfortunately found themselves on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah.
So huko the restrictions on kunguru is not as stringent.
Yeah.
as the rest of the prison population.
So ulipelekwa detained because of being an Indian, ama why were you considered?
Because of my British citizenship.
Oh, you have dual citizenship, Kenyan and British. Oh, sawa. Then there's this about sex and harassment in prison.
Hakuna mambo kama sexual harassment. Ni watu kuelewana, mwanaume wawili kuelewana. When I went to committee in 2009, Kamutu alikuja alinieleza, shika igiriswa 100,000 in cash, nipatia, nipanulia miguu yako. I said no. in the conception or misconception that there is that there's rape, etc. Yes, there may be, but I have never seen or heard of one while I wasn't there, in the prison that I was in. Yes, kuna bibi wanafanya harusi, all of that is there, but wameelewana. There's no like rape. But again, it goes back to the point that there's people that want to get rid of their sexual desires or whatever. Naona mtu akitomba paka, na vile mimi napendanga paka, nikapiga mtu kofi. I had a water. But I mean, what has the cat spoiled for you?
So bad. So there's no harassment.
I repeat myself. There may be, but I have never witnessed an incident.
Yeah. So back to your conning games. Ulisema sasa ulifika mahali ya conning, upgrade the conning.
Okay, so game. In 2013 apili yangu ilitupwa. Nakueleza tu in 1 minute the whole story so that ushike.
Yeah.
Apili yangu kutupwa, my girlfriend alipatia kitu 5,000 tukikwa kotini. It was just a few days before the judgment. Simu yangu ilikuwa imechukuliwa na serikali.
Yeah.
No, ilikuwa na shida ya battery. I said go ujipange. I took the money, hata sikumwongelesha, nikarudi tena. First thing I wanted in my head was to get high, to forget about my appeal being dismissed. Nikaenda to the general prison population. Saa ile sikuwa najua mambo ya drugs etc.
Yeah.
Kanunua bangi. Mtu alikuwa amejua by then that apili ya huyu imetupwa, amechanganikiwa. So alifungia cocktail, that is heroin, bangi and cigar, fegi, sokoto. Nikavuta, nikapenda, nikabuy extra, nikarudi, nikaanza kuvuta. I didn't have a bath for a few days, sikukula, just hiyo kulewa. After 2-3 days, hawa wafungwa wengine walieleza officer in charge that this person has lost it, you better take him out of here. Nikatolewa, nikapelekwa Nevasha. After 3 weeks, my girlfriend alichora, nirudishwe Kamiti.
Yeah.
I wasn't taken back to the general prison population. So when I was back, nikaanza kufikia that why should I steal money and I give half to someone else? So I started changing. I told you my story. Kitu ya kwanza, my voice, my Kiswahili, having different accents, like talking like a Brit, talking like an Indian. So up my game. And then sio pesa zote mimi napata. Na ujue ni mingi because si kama ile ya M-Pesa that unapita na ile unapata kwa account ya mtu. You are telling someone to send you money. And it can be big. I mean, someone that I opened a fake bank account, Equitel at that time was big in 2014, 15. I wanted to gonga someone 305,000. Kangonga. Na akatuma kwa account ya Equitel.
305. Ulimgonga aje?
Lilishikwa na gold along the near Kitale, and the police wanted a bribe of 300,000. Na hiyo 5,000 ya juu ilikuwa ya matumizi yangu.
That was the lugha.
Lugha ni mingi. You know, I told you in the beginning when I started, nilianza kama a toddler that's learning to walk. Yeah, I've gotten the attention of people, but I don't know how to maximize on it. But you learn from your mistakes. Like when I started talking in Kiswahili, wateja kadhaa waliruka because they could tell it's the same person. So I add more bass. add other things to your, try and keep this conversation short, keep this one longer.
Yeah. So you upgraded.
As I believe, hardness is necessity of everything. You come across a problem, as a human it is up to us to find a solution.
So umefungwa, umehukumiwa kifo, umepelekwa sasa Kamiti. Nasikia kuna na ile torture room ile penye ile mashine ya kunyonga pale.
Okay, so backstory again. In 2009, if you remember, Kibaki had pardoned death row prisoners to life. So where ujue hata kama I've been convicted today, I still have my appeal. So bado sifai kuwekwa condemn A. But because there was no other place to put them, tulikuwa tunawekwa condemn A. Wale sasa wako death, si life, not the ones that have been pardoned. Tukawekwa condemn A. Condemn A is, hata ukiingia kwa hiyo block, it's like unaingia nyumba ya shetani. It just, the weather that's changed. It's like in that block there is no sunshine, there's no, it's even got this, the smell of death. Kama umeingia mortuary, ajua ile harufu inakwanga ya whatever that smell is there. It just, it's crazy. And then wanasema kuna kunyonga Kenya, si watu hiyo machine. But anyway, funny enough, pale tulikuwa tunaona TV. Okay, TVs are there. For every block there's a TV. TV is here, mlango, and then kunyonga. So you can imagine the mental torture. Unaona TV, but your mind is what's behind that door.
TV ko hapa, then
TV ndio hii, yeah, where I'm sitting. Hii ni mlango, na hapo ni kunyonga.
So the machine is visible.
No, there's a door.
There's
but without a machine, iko ma kiosi kwa hapo juu, you can go and see. So there's even a video we have of that.
Of the machine. But sasa, the torture now, that's mental torture.
That torture is worse than, I would prefer that mtu anipige tumalizane hapo kuliko your mental torture I went through from December to July, August. At that time, everyone over there, okay, majority of people were saying that, si watu nyonge isha.
Watu nyonge isha. How many are you inside there?
Okay, there were times, you see, mtu akinyongwa alikuwa analetwa condemn A. Sasa ikifika watu kama 140 walikuwa natoa kadhaa wanapelekwa blocks zingine because they had no choice. Wajue within like 12 or 13 cells unaweka watu 140. You can imagine how
big is the cell?
Pale unaweza weka, si umeona hiyo mattress ya inchi mbili ya single, hiyo ya blue.
Yes.
Unaweza weka 3.5.
3.5. Kuna 140 people.
So see, do the math, 3.5 times 14. Ama 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 cells. How cramped do you think that is? See, iko pale tulikuwa it had gotten to a point for 4-5 nights tulikuwa tunalala kama umepanga dominoes.
Yeah.
Vile tunapanganga mawe ama simiti. Uita upinduka every 30 minutes.
So kuna kupinduka, mnapinduka wote?
Wote.
Wala tuna kupinduka, mnapinduka wote. Na sasa kuna kwenda kujisaidia na zile za
sini cells wanakojua kwa bucket.
Kwa bucket. Hata haja kubwa ni kwa bucket.
You make sure that umeenda haja kubwa before umefungiwa, na kwani jela iko na chakula itaharibu tumbo yako.
Bidi tumbi chakula ya jela iko aje?
Asubuhi ni uji ya mahindi bila sukari. Yeah. Lunch ni sukuma matawi bila the leaf with ugali. Jioni ni maragwe ugali. Once a week unapewa rice. 3 times a week unapewa nyama kiasi the size of my thumb.
Nyama. So it's pathetic.
Pathetic is a good word in my opinion. Horrendous. Kenyan prisons is given so much money that they can afford to buy prisoners chicken once a week. Kwa watu wanapenda pesa.
Yeah.
Kama huyu ex-officer in charge, sitasema jina, but if he's watching this aone, tunajua amejenga kanisa.
Yeah.
Na pesa ya wafungwa.
Amejenga kanisa.
Anaitwa Henry. Sitasema jina ingine.
Amejenga kanisa.
Amejenga kanisa na pesa ya wafungwa. Akiingia committee as officer in charge alikuwa anaendesha Toyota 110. Akitoka after 6 years alikuwa anaendesha Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser. Now, kule umesema huku chakula guys in detention is different from guys.
No, it's not different. Ni ile tu inapikwa jikoni, but ile iko na limit.
Yeah.
Okay, so kama ni maragwe ujue huko in the general prison population,
Yeah.
ni kijiko moja hiyo pimo yao.
Yes.
In detain wanaleta bucket mzima wanaweka hapo, we kula paka umeshiba. Ile imebaki enda upe dege. But isifike back to the general prison population.
Isifike kule.
Isirudi huko.
Hiyo ni yenu huko.
Hiyo ni yenu. Na huko kama ni watu 3 ama ni watu 14, because iko bakari tumelala watu 3. Bado inakuja hiyo bucket mzima. Na huko ndani iko watu wanalala jana. Okay, wanaleta rice bucket mzima, ugali bucket mzima. Ugali hakuna siku nimekula nikikwa detain. Tulikuwa tunajipikia, tuko na majiko, coils.
Yes.
And it's legal. Hata officer in charge akikuja, ataona tu, atasema ni sawa. Si nini kwa sawa.
So, at some point you talked of your girlfriend ukikuwa Naivasha, alikusaidia ukarudi Nairobi. How powerful ama alikuwa among the people in power?
Mimi nilimjua kupitia kuiba. Actually, siku ya pili ya okay, si siku ya kwa ile message 200 nitumia ya kwanza, namba yake ilikuwa, na kwa roho yangu tu nilikataa that sitaki kumjua.
Yeah.
Vile she just portrayed herself etc. After like 2-3 weeks of talking, I told her. I didn't told her up until then niko jela.
Yeah.
So I told her niko jela. The following day alikuja kuniona. From there tulielewana, but one thing alisema, and she kept her word. Alisema mimi nitakutoa jela. Na amenitoa. Na alinitoa with one of the shortest sentences for murder convicts in Kenya.
Alikutoa kivipi?
Hiyo kuzunguka, si kuenda ku bribe judge.
Yeah.
But hawa watu wote wa chini,
Yeah.
kama clerk ya court, probation officer, hawa wote aliwadunga. You see, the problem was not money as such.
Yeah.
The problem was me kuwaona. You have to have someone that anaweza enda kushughulikia.
Yes.
She did that. Na ujue, if you've ever been to the court system in Kenya, unaweza sungushwa your building paka uchoke wachane nayo. But no, she did not give up.
She didn't give up. Akakutoa. So she's the same person who struggled ukatoka Naivasha ukarudi Nairobi.
From 2011, 14th of April tulijuana, alikuja kuniona after those 2 weeks, your 28th ama 29th of April. Alikuwa anakuja kuniona once every 2 months.
Once every 2 months.
Once every 2 months. Iko siku in 2015 niangukia pesa ya ujinga. Like literally nimepata pesa, I don't know what to do with it. Kamweleza nasikia kukula, as in food, proper food, chicken, chips, pizza, bloody blah. Hata ukunwa. Sema sawa, tutachora aje. Nikachora, nikaenda Mathare. Misi wazimu. Nikaenda Mathare.
How do you do it? Ndio ukatolewa kupeleka Mathare.
Askari ni kama umbwa. Askari jela ni kama dogi. Sawa. Yule unamrushia nyama anakuja kama na kuchukua. Askari jela ni hivyo na pesa. That's the only way I can put it. I'm sorry. That's my opinion of that. Mtu amefail, as I said earlier on, KCSE, You tell him or her to look after a hardened criminal.
So you used to play with money, you get whatever you want.
Iko watu wametomba wanawake, they made their girlfriends or wives pregnant wakikuwa jela.
Crazy, how is that done?
Sio tu vile nimechora nimeenda Matare. Hospitali ni mingi sana, ukikuwa na pesa sio ende Aga Khan ukiwa admitted.
So in real sense si Mathare umeenda?
Si mimi nimeenda Matare, mimi nimepelekwa tu, nikaenda nikaeleza daktari. As in, si daktari lazima andike order that tupelekwe Matare or to any hospital.
Yes.
I went and told the doctor that mimi nataenda kula food only. Honestly, aisema Kenyatta saini gumu. Ataenda kuwa admitted or not admitted. Akasema not admitted. Aisema Matare. Siliandikia kama doctor amesign, you have to be taken.
Yeah.
Si mimi nikaeleza my girlfriend that naenda siku fulani, hiyo ndio vitu nataka. Nikaenda nikakula nikarudi. Anapiga picha nikikula huko.
Kabla ya kukula ukarudi.
Kula ikarudi. Hata nimerudi nikikuwa mlevi.
But ukipatikana uko mlevi kwa jela, what happens?
Watafanya nini? Siko kwa mwili.
There's nothing they can do.
Iko siku when I used to do drugs, nilishikwa na bangi 10 na heroin sachet 20. Nikapatia askari ya fubidi na akaniwachilia.
Wakuachia mali yako?
Hata kuchukua mzigo. Na si askari as in constable, two-stone, inspector. Alikuwa anaitwa Mwala. Not his real name, but alikuwa anaitwa
the nickname.
Two-stone over here.
Akakuachia mali yako. So overally, what's your experience about Kenyan prisons and Kenyan prison police and the convicts?
That can go on for hours. Kenyan prisons are shit. There's no human rights. There's no life. There's no humanitarian cause. If you live, you live. If you die, you die. Many prisoners commit suicide. I tried it twice, but I said it's not worth it. I stopped. Prison officers, as I've told you, they're worse than criminals because they've been given the duty of making sure no contraband comes in and they bring it themselves. So I think that statement puts it forward how I feel about that. Yes, I have used those prison officers to use that, and even I know it's never going to happen. I'd rather die than go back to prison, but I know it's still going on and it will never stop. Like when I was in committee medium, because it is an open prison, you can sleep with a female officer if you want. I hope that explains how horrendously pathetic, crazy, whatever adjective you want to use they are.
It's crazy.
And reforms are needed. Things have changed. I'm not saying that they've not changed, but they haven't changed enough.
What was your worst experience in prison?
The first day, the first slap.
The first day, the first slap. Your worst. And the best?
The day I found my girlfriend.
Are you still dating?
Yeah, we're together. We're just not living together right now because of issues, but very, very soon.
We'll be together.
I want to. I mean, I'm 43 years old right now. I want to have a child at least to leave my legacy behind with.
You're jailed. How old were you when you went?
25.
25. Came out when you were 40. So
41.
You're 41. So you're only 3 years old.
10th of December.
10th of December. 3 years old. We need to celebrate.
I'm going to.
Throw a party. So
If I get enough money, yes, I'll throw a party.
You
I'm
throw-
one person. I'm one person who believes, even while I was in prison, and even before, whatever, money ni kama, what do you call it? Chafu ya mkono. It doesn't stay. It's meant to go around.
goes around.
When I have, I spend. When I don't have, I survive.
Iende hivyo.
Like my cat. It's used to eating meat all the time, but when there's no money, I give it omena. It wants to eat, it eats.
Ni kweli. So your life before you went to jail, how was your life? How was the life?
Typical rich Muindi.
Rich Muindi.
I was brought up well. I'm not saying that I was a saint. I'm not even saying I was the devil. I was somewhere in between.
But a rich Muindi.
I had my own cars, family business.
Now, how is your life now as compared to before?
I'm living, I'm surviving.
You're surviving. So, after going to jail, your vehicles, your business, they all collapsed. What
Yeah.
happened?
You know, when you get out of prison, it's like umezaliwa tena. Not ile ya Christianity, but you literally, like on the day I was released from prison, got onto Committee Road, went and bought a phone, went and bought clothes, took a Uber, went to a temple on Limuru Road. That was my first stop. But looking around, when I was arrested, Thika Road was that 2-lane, if you remember the old 2-lane. Yeah, I traveled on it in the prison bus. But I could tell the Uber driver, stop the car, I want to get out over here. There's that difference. Like where we are right now, I told you, this used to be a Maram Road in 2008.
This bypass.
So things have changed. So following up on things from the past is wasting your time. And remember one thing. This is something that a lot of people forget. I was a convict who's been released, so I can't get a certificate of good conduct. Along the same lines, if I go and start fighting with someone, or I do something wrong right now, and that person goes and reports it to the police, and I'm arrested, 90% of chance I'm going to be killed. That's reality. How many people have come out of prison, gone and committed a crime again, and they've been killed? I value life. I don't want to.
So you decided to start over again?
I started over again. I dwelled in crypto mining, but I didn't see that it's enough. So a month or so ago, I decided to start a YouTube channel.
Okay, great. Inaitwaje YouTube channel?
Muindi Maskini.
Muindi Maskini. Unafanya content gani hapo Muindi Maskini?
Well, yangu ni tatu. One is prison, obviously.
Yeah.
Second is comedy.
Yes.
And third is my cat.
Your cat. So 3.
But it's birds. But you know, I told you I just started a month ago. I've not really found my direction yet.
Yeah. All the best. I'll be pinning the link
Thanks.
in my description so that guys can follow, can like, can share the stories. Zifikie watu wengi. Tuone venye tuna grow pamoja. Nimeshukuru sana kwa hii show and thank you so much for honoring to come to pige story. At least there are some few things people have learned about Kenyan prisons. I don't say take away message to people out there or to people in prisons or to people in government.
Okay, message to prisoners. I doubt they're ever going to watch this because they don't have time to watch YouTube. There's no YouTube there. But for anyone that is thinking of committing a crime, don't. It doesn't pay. If you ever find yourself in a police station accused of committing a crime, maliza. No matter what you have to sell your plot, your car, everything. Usikubali kustakiwa uende jela. Because there's stuff that you'll see there in Kenyan prisons that are not meant for mankind.
It's hell.
Sometimes I think hell might even be better than Kenyan prisons. You know, when I got out of committee medium, you know, as a human sense of smell, the smell that is on the inside of the prison and on the outside is different. The air is different. It's just a matter of a door, but that psychological and physical extremities around it are totally different.
It's very different.
And in committee main, you can go. There was a time up until like 2013, 2014, or from 2009 December to whenever, I went without seeing grass or a tree because there were none.
Grass and trees. Crazy. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having
this
me.
show. I'm so grateful for having you here, and I wish to have you. We discuss more. I know there are so many stories we haven't covered in this episode, so I'm sure we'll interact more. We'll have to get more time and discuss 1 to 3 things about reforms in Kenyan prisons. What do you think should be done to improve the status of the prisons and all that? Thank you so much, and I'm wishing you all the best. Channel yako tunaomba watu wa subscribe, na pia channel yangu pia naambia wakuje waone hii show, wa subscribe, wa like na wa share stories zetu zifikie as many people as possible. Thank you so much, Rashi.
Thank you.
Asante sana.